as always. And of course, I did share with you earlier that this evening we're talking Calypso. Of course, it's Calypso season. This weekend we have the Independence competition final that's taking place in St. Patrick. Of course, hey, things happening in Carriacou. They're getting ready for Carnival. In Trinidad, hey, big things happening. They're getting ready for Carnival as well. And news coming in today is that we have 3 people in the semi-final to soca. Yes, Black Adan is there. We understand that the reigning soca monarch Dash is also there, and the junior monarch Shaquan is also in the semi-final. So looking like we go take it again for a second time. But we're going to hear what Vala to say about that, you know what I mean? But in any event, we're talking Calypso. We're going to Trinidad this evening. They're getting ready for the Calypso semi-final. Let me tell you, if you have not heard some of these Calypsos yet, let me tell you, you gotta get with the game, because they got some great ones. And you know, I already picked my horse for the Calypso monarch. Imagine the semi-final ain't go yet, but I picked my horse for the final. You understand? And guess what? It's a female horse. So you know what's going on. Any event, we talking Calypso this evening, and I have with me my good friend, partner, everything, Val Matthews. He's with me, and of course, the lady who I believe, and that's me. You know, judges funny, you know, but I believe that's the person who is going to give them problems in the Calypso competition this year. So it's a good time to welcome them. We're talking Calypso. Val, good evening. How are you doing, man?
Good evening, Godfrey, and good evening, Grenada. Good evening to the whole Windward Island where GBN is being heard. Good evening to everyone on the platform.
Yes, indeed. And beside you, a wonderful lady, my female horse in the Calypso race this year,
wow.
Miranda Joseph. Miranda, good evening. It is such a pleasure.
Good evening.
How are you
Thank
doing?
Thank you for having me on GBN.
Yes,
and
indeed.
A special good evening to Grenada.
Indeed.
Yes.
Miranda, as one of your comedians would say, let's start from the start. You're a Calypsonian, but it goes way back. It in your blood, so to speak.
Yes.
So
I'm a Calypsonian.
Let's start. Let's give us a background. Tell us who is Miranda, where Miranda come from, who is Miranda, and what she's been doing.
Yes. Well, first, I'm Miranda. I'm a Calypsonian, a lover of Calypso, a soldier in the true art form of Calypso, and would you believe, a grandchild and daughter of Calypso, because my grandfather, he sang Calypso also. The Duke of Normandy was his name. And of course, I think you know my mom, Marvelous Mava, of course. Yes, so I grew up in the house of Calypso, and it's been like over 20 years in the business. Yes, like over 20 years.
Yeah. 20 years.
Yeah, like singing in tents. I've been around as this guy would say chalk dust, and not in tongue. No, you know. Yes,
your tongue long.
I sang at Calypso House, the big tent in Trinidad.
Mm-hmm.
Calypso Review, the Divas, you know, so I've been around, and right now I'm with Icons Calypso Tent.
Right,
yes,
lovely. Croco, yeah, that's the man. The midget. Yeah, I mean, I maybe you know, some folks in Greater are not familiar with the name, but folks, Marvelous Marva, United Sisters, lead vocal. Yes, indeed. So that's the mother of Miranda, so you can understand what is happening here. Calypso is in her blood, all right? She didn't decide she wanted to sing Calypso. You understand? Calypso is Miranda and Miranda is Calypso. So that's how the thing. That's how the thing.
In my blood.
That's how it works.
As I said in this song, don't matter if I come first or last. It's in my heart.
Of course. That's it. And that's the thing about people who are into calypso. Sometimes when you're in the competition, you feel a little despondent, with maybe the things that happen, the results. But the bottom line is, and I have heard it in Grenada so many years. Boy, I ain't going back in this thing. I ain't going back. I done with them, discipline them, this and that. And the next year, they first releasing the song.
Yes. And your calypso is a jumbie, you can't stay out.
No,
it holds you.
Definitely.
No matter what. Because sometimes you'll say, oh my God, they cheat. No, I'm not going back. But the next year, you're there and ready
to go.
And Godfrey, that is one of the big problems we have in calypso, the competition. People tend to focus on competition and not really doing good music, doing music that comes from your heart, music that you believe. You can't be somebody else's mouthpiece for some kind of government platform or stuff like that. You just work and do your work and present it well.
Definitely.
And it will pay off. Sometime it will pay off. You just keep doing good work.
Well, listen, I always say to people, Miranda, and you're so correct. I mean, I can say beyond the shadow of a doubt that one of the greatest calypsonians of all times and will continue to be is the Mighty Shadow. The Mighty Shadow, you would think the Mighty Shadow or even Lord Kitchener probably may have won numerous Calypso Monarch titles. Shadow barely win the crown,
Yes.
I mean, Shadow won.
The Calypso Monarch Kitchener won one crown.
And that's
75.
That's it. So, but when you talk in Kaiso, I mean, you cannot talk Kaiso without mentioning names like Shadow or Kitch. So the competition is one thing and it's wonderful. It does add to the whole joy of Calypso. Sometimes, of course, it does bring sadness, but that's the thing about competition. But nevertheless, as you say, doing what you love is what's most important. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about Vala coming to you. Don't worry, we go talk. We go talk. We go talk. Let's talk about the season. We know the thing has started, and I'm sure not all the Calypsos, have been released yet. But I think the tents have started opening. Let's talk a little bit about that. Your tent, have your tent opened yet?
Well, right now we are into rehearsal mode.
Right.
Right. So from the 8th. Calypso Icons will open in Faizabad.
Right.
That is where Croker's from that area, so he tends to go down there to open his tent.
Yeah.
And the 11th will be at Queen's Hall, and that is the Judges' Night. So we will just have one performance before Judges' Night. So you have to have your A game on. All right.
But Vala, I have to bring you in here. I have to bring you in here because.
It's your show.
No. I was listening to the news last evening. Was it last evening? Yes. After the semi-final of our independence competition, because the semi-final was last Sunday, and the final is this weekend. And in news, there were interviews from the Calypsonians, and you heard people saying they got half a practice. I'm saying here, Kaiso isn't a Trinidad or a Grenada thing. It's a Caribbean thing. And all these things.
The thing about it is that it's about planning, right? And the season is coming, so that the Calypsonian, if he is a professional Calypsonian, whatever that is, and that varies for different people, has to prepare for that season, So it is about getting your Calypso ready so that when the season starts, whenever it starts, because since a lot of countries, states are dependent on maybe some funding, right? Whenever the funding is released, they would roll it out, and the tents would start and so on. But the individual Calypsonian has to get ready, prepare himself. so that if you have 3 rehearsals before the 10 starts, then you must make the best of those rehearsals so that when the 10 starts, when the season jump off, you are ready. You know, you cannot wait on the first rehearsal to still be struggling with your lyric, to still be struggling with the with knowing where your intros and outros are in your song and all those kinds of things, so that it speaks to the professionalism of the individual, and they have to do their individual work, because you are having less and less of a Calypso season. You know, but in Trinidad, the 10 started in previously many years ago, on Boxing Day. And it went right down to Carnival Saturday. Now that is not the case. You're having now less than 3 weeks in terms of a 10th season, if you want to call it that. So that you have to look at all those things. But the Calypsonian themselves, they have to prepare. Right, they have to get ready for this season.
But Val, it is a disadvantage to the Calypsonian, because look, there is always the call for Calypsonians to put on the A game, to do the best they can, because of course one of the reasons cited for maybe the drop in popularity, so to speak, of Calypso is that we don't get the kind of material from Calypsonians now as compared to what we used to get before, or what we got before. And fine, and I take that. But to have a Calypsonian, right, having to go to his tent for the first night to face the judges, it is not fair.
Well, it
is not fair to the Calypsonian.
And so how do you beat that? So that there has to be a better relationship between the Calypsonian and management, you know, in terms of its preparation. You cannot have, 3 or 2 rehearsals, and then when you open, you are facing the judges, right? And the competition has become too much of a focus in terms of Calypso. That is it. And which is part of what is expressing song. Is not that, you're saying that competition is so bad, but competition now seems to be the only thing that is driving Calypso. Not only in Trinidad, but in Grenada, and of course I'm almost certain, St. Vincent and Antigua and so on. It becomes the same thing because Trinidad becomes that model, right?
But there's another argument that one can raise. Now, if that is the case, right? If that is the case, let's consider a number of things. One, when a Calypsonian does his work, right? The competition as it is now is really and truly the only means or the only avenue where a Calypsonian can actually get a little revenue. When you consider how much money the Calypsonian puts out, right, to record, you have to pay for rehearsals, you have to do all of those. It's a lot of money involved, right? So the competition is the only way, because you said it. If you don't have a couple shows in the tent, I mean, when you have the 10 shows, people come, they listen, you get a little revenue. The Calypsonian may get a little something out of that. So that is something that should be considered. So the competition does have its advantages, so much so that Calypsonians now are not recording the Calypsos anymore. Because they record the Calypsos, they hardly get play because everything nowadays, is the soca and the groovy. And then the tent that the Calypsonian really depends on opens 1 or 2 nights, and then that's it. So, yeah. I mean, don't matter how you look at it, the Calypsonian is at a disadvantage. And you said earlier, there was a time when the tent used to open from Boxing Night and it goes right through. Why has that stopped?
It has stopped because to be honest, the tent is no longer that place of entertainment. The Calypso tent back in the day had a hub of activities around it. right? There was the woman with the corn soup and the well, it wasn't even corn soup back then. It was sauce and pudding and orange and nuts and bacon shark and whatever, you know. And so there was a hub of activities, and there were scalpers, you know, because it was buzzing. People were very interested. They would buy tickets in advance, and the tents were sold out, because it was not simply about preparing a song for the monarch to get in there. People, Calypsonians, wrote songs that were about the life they live, the community. When you had, let's say, a Calypsonian like Gibraltar singing about the snow cone, the press run, snow cone running down she chest, and so on. They would just see things, right, and write about it, right? That is not the case now in terms of how people approach writing a calypso. You prepare a song so that you can get into the monarch. So a lot of those, the material that is being prepared says very little to the audience. So the audience have diminished. Apart from that, in Trinidad, you see the aging demographic of the audience. You know, the Calypso audience is probably around
50 and over.
Right? And as we have in this space, you know, crime and so on, that audience has diminished a whole lot, so that you have empty seats. But that is propped up, you know, it's on negative by the state. The state has jumped in there and the state is paying salaries. The state is putting up a tent for the Calypsonians. The state is paying the money for the prizes, for every prize, and so on, and the semi-final and infrastructure and so on, so that you become too dependent on state funding and less on your own creativity and how best you can use your creativity to draw audience back to the tent.
So in other words, you're saying that Calypsonians, they do have a significant role to play if we need to get back, or if not get back, but you know, come back to a time when people can be drawn to the Calypso tent.
Yeah. So, you know, you as I pointed out, you know, the Gibraltars and Bomber and others have laid down work that says it is about creating good work. And as Jazzy and the tent managers used to say, you know, good song, come with a good song, right? And when Jazzy and they were selecting people for the tent in review, and Sil Taylor and others, they are not thinking in terms of which song is going to win the monarch. They are looking to get songs in the tent that could put, you know, bums in seats. Right. And when you have thousands of bums every night for the season, you have money in your pocket, both in terms of the producer of the show and the Calypsonians. And the competition was you know, lanyard surplus in terms of that. So we have to get back to just creating good work that, you know, speaks to the audience in the way that the audience want to be spoken to in terms of entertainment. Right. I mean, I do take that because I think it's a collective responsibility. You know, Calypsonians do have to raise the game, but I also believe that more support can be given in terms of management, organization, logistics, all of that, and let Calypsonians focus on doing what should be done to you know, bring the thing you know, at a place where people want to come out to hear what's going on, you know. So Miranda, I'm coming back to you. Let's talk a little bit about your journey, you know, some of your work over the years, from the time you started to where we are now, and then we're going to come to the big song that speaks to what me and Val was talking about just now.
Well, Godfrey, it was always a team, and Val's my writer here. I think it's just once in my career journey, I changed writer. I went to Larry Harewood, and I didn't get what I really wanted. You know, the music, the everything that put together and make it a true calypso. So I came back to Mr. Walton Matthews, and it's been a journey. It's been a journey. There's ups and downs. You know, some people will ask me, how was your season after the season? How was your season? And I will say, fantastic. But then one might say, fantastic, but you didn't win no crown.
Right.
You didn't enter any competition. But I please the audience. And that is what you need to do as a Calypsonian. That is what we want. And that is my love. And it's been a long road. But as you know, I came from a house of Calypso. My mommy, Marvelous Mother, she never wanted me or any of her children to be in the business. Right? But you know, I was always a rebel.
Right.
I was always a rebel, and I decided, no, I want to sing Calypso. And she always said, Miranda, you have to have belly to be in this thing. You have to have belly. But I said, what is woman talking about belly? And she's in this.
Right.
Until the first competition I entered was a Queen show with all the big ones, Godfrey. Jenny Thomas, singing Sandra, Marvelous Mother, Lady B, Tigress,
right.
Everybody in this competition. And Miranda in this competition. I was so happy.
Yeah, that in itself was a big thing. I mean, just being around these giants in Calypso.
Yes, you feel great. Oh, you're inside the game. Until the night of the competition, a big one, may God rest her soul, came up to me, tapped me on my shoulder, and said, don't play with her effing dollar. And I couldn't believe it, Godfrey. I stand there and couldn't move.
Wait, meaning what? You were threatening?
This was supposed to be somebody I look up to. And rehearsal, lo and behold, a next big one looked at me and said, who is this? A next shatong in the tent? So I have some stories. It's a journey. But that never stopped me because I love what I do. I keep doing it. And I always do it with truthfulness.
Right.
If I don't believe in something, I would not sing it. Right? Mr. Matthews will present me with different work. We'll sit down, look at it. But this song, Godfrey, Calypso Blues, first line, I said, that is the song. I'm going with that song.
We come into it. I ain't want to talk about it yet. I already talk about it. You ain't making me talk about it yet, Miranda. I already talk about Calypso Blues. When I ready, I go bring it up. So I go bring up Calypso Blues. But let's talk a little bit about your tent. Who are some of the Calypsoans in your tent this year? I know value associated with the tent as well.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, I'm at the Icons, so we have people like well, the Icons is not really we even call it the big tent in Trinidad. The big tent is Calypso Dynasty. Yeah.
Calypso Dynasty. Okay, all right.
The thing about it is that I mean all these spaces are the same, right? Calypso Icons is led by Crow, of course.
Right.
And you have organizers there.
Right.
Right.
That's a bandit.
This year, I think I see Joanne Foster.
Shalon Bailey.
I see Shalon. I see Twiggy, right? Of course, Miranda. Heather.
Yes.
Is there? Heather McIntosh.
Right.
Her father. He is an MC.
Right.
So that and other Calypsonians, Frosty Brooks, who had been outside in the USA for some years, he's back in Trinidad. Other Calypsonians pulling up the rear. Always an interesting cast. I think Crow, like a lot of the seniors, understands Calypso, right? Understands probably how to select a cast and pull them together for the season, you know. So that we may not have some of the names, but it's always interesting. It's always interesting.
Right, lovely. Let me ask. I know. I mean, over the years in Coco said you had people like Cardinal and Ember. Where are these guys still around?
Oh,
are they still?
Ember
Ember is there.
Ember is there. Okay. You know,
Cardinal is in the East Caravan. Ember is there. Yeah.
Right. I always remember there's a Calypso Ember song some years ago. That I always feel that the government of Trinidad should consider put everybody in jail and set those bandits free. Let it fight among themselves. It was a good one. So and he was quite good. So aside from icons, so Calypso House is still around, right?
They have a name change this year.
Calypso Dynasty.
Oh, Calypso Dynasty.
Themselves Calypso Dynasty.
Right.
I don't know why the name change and why the dynasty, but that's another story they have to answer for themselves. I think that Calypso House was such an appropriate name, the House of Calypso, Calypso House, but they choose to change, to move away from that. And they are now housed, or they are going to be housed in a hotel, Radisson Hotel. So I guess they are catering a product specifically for the tourist market.
Right. Who are some of the Calypsonians in Dynasty?
Chucky,
Dwayne O'Connor, Kerry Nashe. Who else? They have Posa's son, Posa. Valentino is still there.
Valentino. Okay, lovely.
Yeah. Kerr. Some of course they have lost Brown Boy. Brown Boy
was Brown Boy. Yeah, Brown Boy passed.
He's no longer there. And some younger ones who are filling the booth. Dwayne's son has the
yes. And what about people like Johnny King, and so they're still around in the tent?
Johnny is with the Caravan. He is the leader there, so he's in the east. So that you would see that the tents are, have their locations. You have the North Zone, you have East Zone, you have Calypso House, you have the South Zone, right? So Johnny is in the East. He is the leader there, and you have people like Stinger and Ninja and Sexy Susie, and some names that don't come off the top of my head.
Right. Okay.
But they have their own cast also.
But I think so far it's just one tent that opened already.
Yeah, only one tent has opened so far, which is the South.
Yeah.
The what is it? Calypso
Showcase.
Calypso Showcase.
Showcase. All right. Okay.
And I think what his name is down there.
So Shaq is there. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Shaq is there. Yeah, I know Shaq is there. The Calypso Fiesta semi-final. When is that going to be held?
Oh, good. I think somewhere. What is the 20-something? I don't have the dates on right off.
Okay.
Honest. So when Carnival is.
Right. So there's some time. So there's some time for Calypsonians at least to kind of.
Yeah, because the tents are now opening. So I think it's somewhere down about the 26, 27, somewhere down in that period.
Okay.
It would have a February. You would have the Calypso Fiesta.
Right. Lovely. And remind us how many Calypsonians perform at the event to select the final.
40, unless they have made changes.
Okay.
40 singing one song.
40 singing one song. And
40 singing one song with I think 12 going. 11 plus the reigning monarch. That Marshall says he'll repeat. Competing, so 11 plus the reigning champion. Okay,
so he's defending. Okay, wonderful indeed. Right, so let's get to the case. So Val, Miranda says you've been, doing all of the writing, and so let's talk about the actual work and the penning of some of these Calypsos. Let's talk about a couple of them, not Calypso blues yet. We come into that.
Yeah.
How do you decide on topics? I mean, do you all work together, and decide what line you're taking?
Not necessarily. Maybe I'm in that sense kind of autocratic when it comes to writing. That as writer, I think you have you get whatever inspiration or idea, and you work on it. And I believe any good singer would sing. I don't think that the Dionne Warwick and Burt Bacharach kind of combination. It is like Dionne Warwick sitting down with Burt and saying, well, look, this is what I want to sing, and I think we should go here. I think that it has always been the writers writing song and singer singing, you know. And if you're a good singer, you can vocalize, you can feel, right? Of course, there are those relationships where Sparrow, working with other people over the years, may put his input. Right. And of course, when you hear the story of Memories, which is a Divine song, and how it started, you know, Divine's writing this song for his dead child, died early in infancy, and that was the genesis of the song. But then Sparrow would have gotten it and changed a lot of the things and turn it into a song that memorializes, you know, people within the art form. So, you know, I said all of that to say that the writer writes the song, or the composer, and the singer sings, so that being around the Calypso space, and things happen. You feel, you observe, you write, you know. And one of the first songs that Miranda entered the tent with, when she sang at Calypso House in 2003, right? She sang Beads and Bikini, which was looking at how the carnival was changing from a kind of male-dominated space to a female space, right? So for someone who grew up with a father who made masks along with other people and so on, you know, I would see them around the carnival season, remembering where a dog was buried and so on, and digging it up and getting the bone and bleaching it to put on, bleaching it and so on to put on an African costume and that kind of thing, you know. But men played masks, so that from understanding that, I was seeing as I became a young adult that the whole landscape was changing, and you had a female-dominated carnival, so that Beads and Bikini dealt with that issue in terms of that change in carnival and how it was becoming that kind of female space, and of course other things inside of there, right? And so that their topics are around when we did Requiem for Kitsch, which was remembering Kitchener, got into the Calypso review with that, and another song. It was 2 songs back in the day, right? Requiem for Kitsch, just remembering the contributions of Kitchener and looking at it through some of his selections, right? Holy Pussy, whatever. So some of that, just the name dropping names are included in that. Of course, also that Calypso stock was looking at the fact that we were losing some senior Calypsonians, right? Blakey and well, of course, over the years, and Power and Merchant, and that's right. And Calypso stock was dealing with that fact that the depreciation in terms of the Calypso stock, right? The heavyweights were dying, right? And of course the question is not just who are the ones to replace them, but the quality of the replacement, right? You know, which still is part of it. So that as writer composer, I mean, I just look around, I feel, I observe, I write, and of course I have the singer who is always burning to sing, right?
Okay, I think we have a little tech issue there. We sort of lost Val. So I tell you what, let's just take a short break, and we're gonna come right back. So stay with us, folks. We'll be back in just a moment.
Classic Lighting Caribbean presents Every Everything Solar and LED, a classic trade show, January 31st to February 2nd, Grenada Trade Center, from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Come experience solar energy at its best through a range of solar-powered products, including solar multicolored floodlights, solar vision floodlights, all-in-one street lights, 3,000 watts portable hybrid generators, solar portable power packs, 48-volt batteries and 6.3 kilowatt inverters, and more. And introducing our newest solar air-conditioned units. Lower your energy cost with our range of solar products. Be part of Everything Solar and LED Trade Show, January 31st to February 2nd, Grenada Trade Center, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Classic Lighting Caribbean, lighting up our lives.
Opportunities, Excel leads the way in digital advancement every single day. Fair internet access for all to share. Transparent billing with consumer care. Excel through the EC bill, safeguarding our rights. Net neutrality, consumer protection shining bright. Mobile number portability available to you. Switch providers seamlessly. Keep the number true. Excel through the EC bill, promoting fair play in the digital world. Every single day, affordable services are important for all. Through the EC bill, there'll be progress overall. Excel and the NTRCs connecting our communities.
Excel and the NTRCs digitally transforming our space together.
And so it begins, a journey like none other. Every moment has the potential to be unforgettable. Bring home a piece of the tropical green forest with every emerald. Capture the sparkling light of flawless water in a diamond. Make the sunrise and sunsets last forever. With precious colored gemstones, the essence of happiness is in our most precious memories. So when it all comes to an end, bring home something that will last forever. Colombian Emeralds International. Bring home more than a memory.
Here we go, here we go. Hey, celebration time. Well, let you believe.
All Dung Fest is sponsored by Flow, Grenada Motor Club, Grenada Tourism Authority, Sandals Grenada, Blue Bubbles, Calico Shopping Center, George F. Huggins & Company, Grenada Cooperative Bank, and Superb Distributors.
Shimmering lights and costumes and fancy shoes. Calypso is blue. know that unsung king. Calypso is blues.
Calypso talk, and of course this evening we're chatting with the lady Miranda, and that big one you heard, Calypso Blues, that's her contribution for 2025. So you understand when I tell you I'm back in a female horse for the crown this year. You understand what's going on? Listen, I am listening to this song, and in my mind I see that picture. All I see is Miranda collecting, you know, those big catboat check that I saw when the man done.
We claiming that. Yeah.
That is all I see. That is all I see. But it is such a wonderful thing. And we opened our discussion this evening, you know, chatting about the tent and the Calypsonians and, you know, where we came from. And this is what the Calypso is actually speaking to. Miranda, let's talk a little bit about it. Calypso Blues. And when I listen to this song and you're singing from quite down inside your belly, you know, it's like this is coming out all the way inside, something that you believe in, you know. Let's talk about this song. You know, your maybe your contribution to, you know, putting it together and so let's talk about it. Calypso Blues.
Well, Calypso Blues is really about the face behind the mask of Calypso, right? The mask, let me see, portrays a family, togetherness, community. But the truth is, Godfrey, it is the opposite. And I live the life. I am inside. I am an insider. It's not somebody coming to tell me this happening. I live it, so I know, so I could express. When the writer brings the lyrics to me, I look at it. First we read it, look at it. He will play the melody, nice melody, so the melody hooks you first. And what it says is very important. The first line, Calypso invites everybody.
Does.
But when you get inside there, it's a different story. So I know the ugly face of Calypso, and I know about the love. It's not only bad things happen in Calypso, eh? There's also love, you know? Love.
Of course. Well, let's see what she bungs in for, so I ain't said nothing. I ain't said nothing. All right.
Yeah, but somewhere down the road, we lost the love, we lost the togetherness, and, you know, like long ago, if you doing a Calypso and you get in trouble with a line, you know, to finish it or something like that, or to express certain things, you'll go to the next Calypsonian.
Yeah, you call
and
somebody.
They will help you. But no, you cannot get at people hiding what they're singing. They're not telling you, you cannot get any help. You know, so the art form is being stifled and is a greed, and so I know, I live it. So I understand. But that's not going to stop me.
Yeah.
I'm going to do what I have to do. And what I have to do is sing my Calypso and always present the work. Yeah.
No, Miranda, you've been singing for well over 20 years.
Yes.
You know, a lot of different Calypsos, different topics, different mood. But this particular Calypso Blues, I am getting the feel, you know, when I talk to you and I talk to Val and I listen to the Calypso, there is something different. The feeling about this one is different. Tell me about that feeling. What do you feel for that Calypso? What's inside when you think about it, when you sing it, when you listen to it? What do you feel?
When I sing it, I just go back in my mind to the first day I stood up in an audition and opened my mouth and sing. Come straight back down. And people will look at me and say, but this little girl have a voice. You know, and everything will just like come together. And I remember like Tigress. I will say Tigress was the first person that encouraged me. Even though my mommy, you know, she never wanted us to be in it.
Right.
But Tigress was the first person that encouraged me to go out there and do your thing. And I went out and do my thing. And I will say it wasn't hard for me because it wasn't hard in a way like I grew up in a house singing Calypso. My mom, she will like give me the lyrics and say, Miranda, look at these lyrics and see if I'm singing the right thing. And lo and behold, she don't know. By doing that, Miranda learning to sing Calypso.
Right. She teaching you to sing Calypso.
Yes, and she don't know.
Right.
Miranda learning to sing Calypso. And I continue doing my work, and it's a journey of love. Because I love what I do. Don't matter if people invite me to do a show anywhere, like sometimes people say, come and sing in my wedding, christening or something like that. Miranda, I have to sing a Calypso, you know.
Right.
If I don't sing a Calypso, I will not feel pleased.
Right.
You know, because I love what I do.
Oh,
I
definitely.
really love what I do.
Definitely. I get the sense. Val, let's talk about Calypso Blues.
What do you want to ask about Calypso Blues?
You penned that song, and earlier you gave me an entire lecture on the whole Calypso and tent and all of that. And you know, as I reflect on what we spoke about earlier, and now looking at Calypso Blues, I get the feel that this is where the idea for that Calypso came from. Am I correct?
Well, I say we have lived this Calypso journey, you know. So that Calypso Blues is part of this 20-odd-year-old journey in Calypso. Apart from that, it is also part of my understanding of what has been out there. I mean, I've been following Calypso. I grew up in a house where my father played a lot of Calypso, you know, and so that people have sung about Calypso before, right? GB says about Calypso rising out of the ghetto of third world stagnation. You know, there's the hope that Calypso can be distinguished among world music, right? And then David sings in Calypso music about that journey where there are snippets of what is happening. So Sparrow at Carnegie Hall making thing, and Kitchener in London, and Fitzroy Coleman fingers dancing on the fret, and so on, you know. So all of these bits that tells you that there is something happening in Calypso. It's a wonderful music, right? Valentino portrayals of Calypso. I mean, where Calypso went.
Yes,
and
indeed.
And pollution and so on. You know. So even with, let's say, Rudder singing about the Long Time Band and Little Man, right? And the character Little Man seeing that the whole Calypso and Carnival is changing, and Little Man bringing this band of traditional people to kind of thwart what is going to happen to the Carnival, because the Carnival is becoming so modernized and whatever, and Little Man is trying to prevent it. So all of these things are part of, you know, what is happening in Calypso. But Calypso Blues, as Miranda said, strips off the mask in terms of the prettiness and the romanticization of, you know, I'm a Calypsonian and I'm dressy and so on, the Duke kind of personality, sartorial elegance and things like that. But the reality is that Calypso has always been a kind of a tragedy. Right? The Calypsonians go on the stage and they perform, but somehow at the end of their life, you know, you have to pull money together to bury and so on. That is all part of the Calypso journey. So Calypso Blues is saying that, Calypso is about community, right? And that community is important, but we have gone down a road in terms of individualism and trying to, you know, to make money, and the competition has become, you know, the be-all and end-all. And inside of that space, you have a lot of unfriendly things happening, and cutthroat and backstabbing and so on. And clearly we can do better than that.
Of course.
You know, we can do better than that. So that it strips off the mask, and it is told from the vantage point of the insider and not the outsider or amateur. You have to live this to sing this.
To understand, yeah. Miranda, let me just go back a little bit. Entering the Calypso arena, and we know that Calypso at one time appeared to be a man thing. As a young woman, enter into the Calypso arena, of course, knowing that you will be among big names like the Stalin and Sparrow and all of these, how did it feel? Did you feel less as a young woman going in there and having to come against this huge mountain?
No, I did not. Because I guess, the background, I grew up around these people, seeing my mom going with my mom into the tent and meeting these Calypsonians. It wasn't like, it was right. a normal transition going into the Calypso tent. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Wonderful. Val, the Calypso season, it has just started. From what you've heard so far, what's your thoughts or your take on some of the work that you're hearing?
Good question. I think that the rhythm thing and the creation of the beat has started to infiltrate in the Calypso space, and I don't know if that is a good thing, I think that Calypso, and I don't want to be traditional in that sense, has been about, the creation of work. Right? For me, why I like Calypso is that I think Calypso is our art music within the Caribbean, right? And it is not just a lyrical thing, but it is a musical thing. And I think that I try to also prove that in Calypso blues. There's a musician, or more than one musician told me already, they say I would steal the progression, because I like it, but I would steal it and I would use it some other way. So that I'm happy about that. So I think that Calypso is about music, it is about those chord progressions, it's about lyric, right? And it is about learning to tell different kinds of stories, right? Our space, Caribbean environment, when we live very close to close-knit communities, things happen and you sing about it. A song was always about, or used to be, an incident happened and you sing about it, right? Now, the community has changed, right? In Trinidad, not so much as in Grenada, but because in our housing development, we have broken up societies or communities and displaced them all over the place, that the Calypso has also changed because of that, right? So that what I see happening is that there is a changing nature of Calypso now, and I'm not too sure that it is good, it is correct. But I think that Calypsonians just have to do the work in terms of understanding the more in terms of the music, so that they can work with it, and of course express themselves in ways that others did not express themselves before. So as I pointed out, in terms of Calypso, other people have spoken and sang about Calypso before, but I think that Calypso blues didn't try to do what Valentino did, or rather the expression in terms of Calypso. It dealt with Calypso in the present. I think it's a very present song, and maybe that's its charm, that it nails what is happening at present within the Calypso space.
Right. Now we have, in recent times, we've seen some young Calypsonians, and I'm at that very young Calypsonians, getting into the thing and doing pretty well. We had people in the past like Karinashi winning the crown. We had Tazaya O'Connor winning the crown. Young artists.
Chuck Gordon.
Right.
Yeah, you could could put Dwayne inside of there if you want. I don't know if Devon could be placed in there, but so that some younger ones.
Then we saw this young guy, what's his name, Aaron Duncan. He was in the Calypso as well at some point.
And then you had those guys from London,
right?
And the other guy wait, so some Laventil, what's his name?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I know he won the crown as well.
He won the crown.
Yes. I know you're talking about. Nice young man. He has this unique style of doing his calypso. He sang this song about bandits in white collar jackets and so. These bandits don't use guns. Look, his name is just Helen Francis. Helen Francis. That's it. Yes. Very, very, very interesting young man. But I'm asking, are you with these young people coming in? Do you think Calypso is still there, holding its?
Calypso in safe hands?
No, I don't. Calypso is always in safe hands. I ain't using that kind of phrase. Calypso is always in safe hands. I don't. I'm not into this thing about Calypso dying. Calypso will never die. My thing is this young guys with the work that they are bringing. Of course, a lot of them, a lot of the Calypsonians now, they tend to have the slant with the political commentaries, and I guess our politicians in the Caribbean are writing for the Calypsonians. They're giving the Calypsonians the song they write for them. But that being said, do you think Calypso is holding its own with these young guys, and do you anticipate more and more young people would get into the Calypso?
Well, clearly from the Trinidad space, you see a lot of young people within Calypso. You have the National Joint or NWAC and so on. They have a number of competitions, starting with probably 5-year-olds and going right up into early 20s and so on. They have about 3 or 4 competitions, and then you have the NCC with their competitions, and there are a lot of school competitions and competitions with credit unions and so on. So there are a plethora of competitions all over the place, and young people are involved. The problem, though, is that you're not seeing a lot of young people who are writing anything, right? And maybe that is something that one needs to look at, that while you have a lot of young people singing, you are not hearing young people's voices, right, in terms of expressing themselves from where they are and what they see. So that we have to look at that, and we have to look to see how going as we progress as a nation, and that is not just Trinidad but throughout the Caribbean, that we can pass information on that would solidify these budding artists a lot more, that they come with the requisite skill, both in terms of the ability to play and write and so on. It's embarrassing to hear Calypsonians and so on say that they don't know anything about a major or a minor chord, and they if the notators, the guys who would do their sheet music, write it for them, they don't know, they don't have a clue in terms of what is going on there. They pass it to the band leader, and they're just waiting to hear something, and so that we have to change that, right? If we want to progress and allow Calypso to do the work that it can do, and stand out and stand out there as a world music.
Right. Yeah. Wonderful indeed. Now, all that being said, Val, let us just look at Calypso under a Caribbean umbrella. You're familiar, of course, with Trinidad. You're right. You're also familiar with the Calypsos from Grenada, some of them, and some of our Calypsonians as well. And I'm sure you've heard from some of the other islands. Calypso, under that Caribbean umbrella, do you think there's a similar trend in terms, one, of the compositions, topics, the way the work is done? And do you think there is anything that can be done differently to help sort of boost the art form along those lines?
Well, I think that the territory itself throws up whatever themes and so on that the Calypsonian will gravitate to. Mm-hmm. So that there are songs that will work in Grenada, and it may not be able to be transported across the various territories. And similarly, vice versa, in Trinidad and Tobago, there are songs that can work and will not be able to be transported. I think that if we look at the Caribbean as an integrated space, clearly we need to have music that can cross those geographical boundaries.
Right.
A lot more. We need to be able to share a whole lot more. And we are still too insular and territorial about that. So I really believe that there is a way where the topic can be dealt with so that it resonates in other spaces.
Right.
We have similar problems, right? We have the problem of the lack of a ferry that brings us together, and we rely less on air. Aviation travel, right? I think that those kinds of things, currency, the drug problem, the crime problem, those are similar things that are happening throughout the Caribbean, and how we deal with it, both in terms of lyric and melody, can definitely reach across geographical boundaries. But we just have to do the work. We just cannot rely on the fact that, we can just say something about Grenada and call the politician's name and whatever, and it works there. But we are cool with that.
Yeah.
So I think we have to push ourselves to do better.
Right.
And we can do better because the music, as I say, for me, the Calypso is our Caribbean art music, and it has the capacity to do much more.
Well, of course, and it brings us together. I mean, when you have songs from, let's say, from Grenada, for example, that can make waves in Trinidad, and Trinidad songs can make waves in Grenada. You have the guys from Barbados and St. Vincent. Clearly, it's an art that can bring us together, and I think if we can recognize that and use that to further develop that art form, I think we can work wonders with it. I do believe that.
Yeah, I think that is what the journey is about. I think as writers, when I come to Grenada to do Legend, I think it's all part of that. That Legend speaks to that. It speaks to highlighting the best of what is in the Caribbean and presenting that. And I think that show alone, has been doing a fantastic job in keeping Calypso alive and presenting it to the audience. And we just need to continue to do much more. As times change, the music will change. But and hopefully it also changes for the better and not changes for the worse. So that some changes are coming in that are not so pleasant, but at the same time there is the potential to do better.
Right. Quickly before we wrap, of course, let's go to the soul of Calypso, the soca and the groove. What's happening? Just a feel of what is going on there. How are things shaping along those lines in Trinidad?
Soca, you can easily say, has displaced Calypso at the top of the pyramid. And of course it is about the party scene. So that is happening, and I heard one former radio DJ lamenting on social media that we are producing too much soca. right? Eric St. Bernard, he's saying that we're producing too much. And I think what he's saying is that the songs are not getting enough time to breathe, right? There are artists and some big ones who are probably fishing. They're putting out, 4, 5, 6 songs, and of course, because they are the bigger ones, that they are getting airplay, and a lot of other younger artists and so on, and potentially good songs are not getting the airplay.
That's right,
because you have a glut of songs in a short season, which is not too good. So that we have to look at that and measure that, that we can create songs for the year and not just create songs for
just for the season.
A kind of a month or 3 weeks.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
Right.
Yeah.
Miranda, have you given any thought to the groove of soca at some point?
But I did something, Godfrey. I did something this year. Carnival Borough.
Oh, but wait. Why I thinking Carnival Borough? But listen, I was playing that earlier, but for some reason I'm thinking Carnival Borough was a song from
way back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
actually, I did it like 2 years ago.
Right.
2 years ago, but I released it this year.
Okay. Yes. Lovely. Well, the season is, as we get deeper and deeper into the season. Miranda, I want to definitely wish you all the best. I feel really good about this song. Really, really, really good about it, and I hope that justice is done. And that song can go there and touch people, and even aside from competition, but people understand what that song is saying, because I believe it's a song that can actually spur people to get back to doing what is required to bring the Calypso back to a point where we can fill the tents and get people interested in the Calypso again.
Yes, hearing that coming from you, it's a joy.
No,
that is my journey. That is what I love, to make people happy.
Yes, indeed. So we basically out of time for this evening. Val, anything? Or Miranda, anything you want to say to the people before we wrap?
Yes, I want to say to the young ones coming up in Calypso, try and focus and be truthful to what you do. Don't do something that somebody wants you to do. Do something coming from your heart. And when it comes from your heart, it comes from God. And that is the true essence of Calypso.
Right. Val, your closing?
Well, not much to say. Miranda mentioned earlier on how that network between Calypsonians, that is not present anymore. And I always remember a discussion with Zandoli. He told me that when he was writing Man Family, he just couldn't find an opening, right? And he went to Sparrow. And he said it's Sparrow who gave him, Millicent, like you take me for Mickey Mouse, the way you're bringing man in my house.
Right.
And I mean, that always stays with me, that, and Zando was telling me, they say Sparrow can't write, but I'm telling you that Sparrow can write, Say he probably didn't have the time, but he certainly can write, and he gave him the opening line. So that it says, and Kitchener and Terra used to share information, so that the environment was about sharing and making one another better, and so on, and now so you didn't have that level of cutthroat and that gladiatorial space that the Calypso fraternity has become.
Well,
we can do better.
I'll tell you this, as you mentioned that. Blakey has a song about send them back, Grenadians.
Oh, God, yes. Backs.
Yeah. Do you know who actually helped Blakey with that song? Because Blakey started and Blakey got stuck. And guess who he went to finish his song?
All right.
A fella called Clifton Ryan. Right. He told me that. Mama told me Blakey came to him, and after that, he well vexed with Blakey what Blakey did with his songs.
And Clifton is Bomber's brother.
Right. No.
Yeah.
Clifton Ryan. His Bomber.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. Bomber.
Yeah,
and his brother was good,
Uh-huh.
Yeah. what is his name? Another Ryan. Santa take a big man from St. James and turn like a cow in water. Sun and rain wetting the man, but he can't get away. Poor fella.
Right, yeah, that was
King Solomon.
King Solomon. Yes, King Solomon. King Solomon. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, Calypsonians, they worked together.
They help one another because it wasn't about the competition and who will win and so on. So that you have to do the work and understand how the competition came into being, because it wasn't always there, And your good friend was saying on the tally that without competition it wouldn't have Calypso millionaires and so on. But your good friend Gypsy, right? Right. Mm-hmm. But that is for another time. Yeah. That is for.
Well, of course.
Competition was not always there in the manner that it is right now. It was not always there. Mm-hmm. But let people do their history and understand it.
Yeah. No, definitely. Well, Val, Miranda, it was such a pleasure chatting with you guys. Talking Kaiso is a love for me. I love to talk Kaiso, and of course we will be continuing. So I'm looking forward to chatting with a lot more of the Kaisonians as the season progresses, to hear what is happening, to get a feel of the work. And I think by doing that too, it might be a way of familiarizing people with some of the different artists and some of their work. That is the intention. So I thank you guys for accepting the invitation and taking the time to sit and chat Kaiso. So thank you very much, and again, Miranda, all the best. We're looking forward to good things. And listen, I want to come in Trinidad for the March Grinder, so know what you're doing. I'll tell you early.
And Godfrey, we thank you for. I think that you are jump starting this program. It's just started. Calypso discussions. Mm-hmm. So that thanks for having us as the first guest on. And we sincerely appreciate it, and we look forward for the others.
Oh, definitely.
On board.
Yes. Definitely. Miranda, the last time I was backstage in the March Grind Trinidad with a Calypsonian, they win the crown,
Crew.
That was in 2000.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, this is a blessing. Yeah, man.
Yes, indeed. So we're looking forward. So thanks again, guys. And Val, next Wednesday?
Next Wednesday, yes.
All the best. Yes, indeed. Thank you very much. All the best, folks.
Bye.
Thank you.
Yes, have a good evening.
Yes, indeed.
Trust what I say, I trio. To tell you about the heartbreaks of